Sup, you beautiful bastards? It's your boy Paradigm Shift coming back to you with another YouTube banger. I feel like it's been a couple days, even though there's stuff uploaded on the channel that I haven't made public. Y'all know what it is. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. I hate doing YouTube intros. This shit feels corny and like over rehearsed. But today we're going to be talking about Elon Musk, travel, and the war on infrastructure because a fucking yo. Now that we're done with the normal YouTube fucking shit. So, to start this off, I want you to think in your head about a time that you have traveled in the United States, in your hometown, without a car and you had to rely on public transit. Has that public transit done you well? Does it come on time? Is it clean? Does it, do you feel it's overcrowded? Regular questions. When we talk about infrastructure, we realize that infrastructure is a communist buzzword. That shit. Me? What? Anyway. Oh, y'all saw my bump. Shit. That's getting worse. Oh, no, it's not. That was just a bad angle. I once fell off my another scooter and I totally skinned my elbow. Anyway, public transit. Public transit is the molecule of understanding that a machine is supposed to take you to a place, right? Some big vehicle, some big thing transports you from point A to point B. Now, in the case of a major metropolitan city such as New York City, infrastructure and public transit has been severely lacking. Trains do not come on time. Train fires happen. We have dirty cars, even though we're not supposed to have that due to COVID protocols. We have everything running late. We have buses that don't run their routes correctly. We have buses that break down. We have sometimes breakdowns in communications, and certain buses don't run their routes like ever. We've got some we've got some of our beautiful, beautiful, beautiful people in power saying that we should invest in infrastructure because the you're you're beating me to the punch. Oh, yo. So what creates this vacuum of discussion and what I'm trying to head towards here is that with infrastructure and especially public transit, I don't want you, when you answer that question, to think just of yourself. When you go on a bus route, do you ever notice that certain bus routes are crowded near certain areas, i.e., hospitals or big hotspots? Do you ever wonder if there was a way to separate the people that are on that bus into two specific lanes where one comes from one area and another comes from another area to meet at the same spot? Wouldn't that lessen the traffic because now two sets of people are able to get on two different buses as opposed to one that only comes in one place? Things like that. It got hot in here all of a sudden. What the hell? Think like that. Think a little further. We've covered on this show before about infrastructure and public transit being necessary for job availability. If you live too far out and you want to work where the money's at, you're going to have to drive. Now, for all of you fucking morons who say dumb shit like, well, if you just want to get better in life, you should just get a fucking better job. Getting a better job requires looking outside of your normal radius. And most people, when they search for jobs, look within a radius of where their public trunk. Then you helping people, there's no money for that. Oh, we about to get into that. Oh, we about to get into that. When we discuss public transit, we realize that there's things like job availability, food availability. For a 55-year-old woman who is traveling from A to B and there's a place that has cheaper groceries she can afford, she's willing to spend $2.75 or $3 or $4 depending on where she lives to travel to a place, buy the groceries, carry them on the train, get off the train, and let's say she just happens to live near the train stops and the store is near the train stops. So it works for her. But without that public transit, she won't be able to do that. So she gets priced out in the place that she. You see, problems. Problems that have solutions. Easily create better public transit, and you can have a more diverse commerce. Commerce means money. Money means more people taking the public transit, less reliability on cars, which means gas prices go down. It helps. It works itself. It works itself out. Whatever, right? Who cares? Helping people, there's no money for that. So for all you dickheads, for all you motherfuckers that was like Elon Musk is the future of this shit, I want to show you what happens when you give an egomaniac the money to be an egomaniac. Motherfucking, I can't figure out if Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk is gonna be Lex Luthor. Jeff Bezos fits the look, but Elon Musk got the brain, bro. Let's take a look at this shit. Cause this shit smoked the fuck out of me. It turns out the congestion busting future of transport is already experiencing congestion. I wonder what the fuck they're talking about.
Is it boring driving down here with all of this? Oh my, there's a traffic jam.
Oh, you know what? When it's busy with new people constantly, it's not too bad. But when it's slow and you're by yourself, it kind of gets a little boring sometimes.
What's that? What's that? I'm giving you time on YouTube to figure that out and type your little angry comments. Please, no, keep going. Keep going. Oh, you didn't think I knew that you think I can't see you through the screen? No, keep going. Keep typing. Keep getting defend him, please. 15 seconds into this video, and do you know what I see? I'm not even trying to be humoristically funny with you when I say what I'm about to say. That's another lane. You motherfuckers could have put a train in that tunnel. That could have been high speed rail, which would have cost less than this project. And I already hear you. Show us your citations and facts on if it could cost less. I have done a 4-hour episode on infrastructure. You motherfuckers are late to the party. Like, you know what the truth is, and for some reason you need me, the new guy, to point it out to you when you're gonna go to your own little streamers like house, YouTube, and their social medias to find out how to debunk this video. So why do I need to explain this to you? But if you really want the numbers, $16 billion for infrastructure to develop a high-speed rail. 16 billion. Now that goes down because a piece of that infrastructure, the railroad system, already exists. So it's actually around 7.8 to 8.4 billion. Please look that up and fact check me if you will, but odds are the numbers have changed at this point and I'm refusing to look at it because the numbers can't go up because they can only go down because of projects like this. This motherfucker 25 bill into this tunnel, into this bullshit tunnel, ended up with a traffic jam anyway. Let's count how many cars there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 that I can see, which means I'm going to give it 7 up there and let's say 2 behind. That's 9. 9 cars with a maximum hold of 4 people. I hear 2 in the car right now, so I'm going to do a safety assumption and say there's 2 people in each car. That's 18 people that this tunnel is supposed to help. I believe 30 to 45 people fit comfortably on a train car. One train. Why don't I have money? Why am I broke? Subscribe with the Prime, bro, please. Cause like Jeff Bezos taking the money anyway and doing dumb shit with drones. Elon Musk taking the Tesla money and doing dumb shit with this. Y'all can't spare $5, yo. And I think, don't you? And you need a car to access this motherfucking tunnel. I think you need a Tesla to access this tunnel. Yeah, generous. I'm generous. I'm generous. I don't know what to tell y'all. Like, I could have said 4 and it still wouldn't have been good math. It's like, why? What? Like, imagine this was high speed rail. Imagine we invested in making our urban communities less dependent on cars. Imagine if we took the time out to just craft a society where everybody who didn't need a car wasn't forced to buy one. Like, I'm not saying I need a bus route to go from the middle of some swamp town in Florida all the way to Tennessee. Like, I'm not asking for that. But if we could have an entire system set up where I could get from state to state without flying. Now you might say, well, Amtrak's a thing. Amtrak don't service like that infrastructure. You've heard of the last times a couple Amtrak crashes. That's infrastructure. See, even the solutions that we have are crumbling and we refuse to put anything into that. But you default to those things as the solutions to the questions that I have because you don't touch grass. I have to take Amtrak to teach at colleges when I can't wake up enough to take the bus. We have Megabus with cheaper routes. Why don't we expand that? Why don't we expand the bus system? Why do we have a bus leaving every 4 or 5 hours? We could expand a network on the highway. If we want to expand highways, we could have a megabus route that travels them from state to state with speed and like easy. And from there, we could develop a rail system right underground that runs the same route. How is it that I am a black man from Harlem with barely, I mean, I got money in the bank, but I ain't got money in the bank. With barely any money in the bank, and I'm solving the fucking United States infrastructure crisis right now. You want numbers? I can tell you by state. I can tell you by principality how much money each place would need. Because I do that. I'm a fucking nerd. Like, I like numbers, okay? I hate quadratic equations, but I like numbers. And instead, we were like, fuck it. Fuck it. Why do we do this so often? We do this thing where in America, we have to be the #1 leaders at creating the most bullshit Remember that there was a Shark Tank episode where the guy had built a bottled water. We're the leaders of innovation. We do like America is just so garbage. Like when it comes to innovation and who we idolize for that innovation. If you work hard, you could be just like Jeff Bezos. With what customer base? I hate that people tell people to work hard and then go nowhere else with that. No, it's just nowhere else. The conversation dies out instantly.
Just circling around constantly.
So is there often a lot of traffic?
I will tell you though, I rode in a Tesla before my trip to Buffalo, which is another video I still have to upload. I haven't forgotten. I'm just looking for the nicest thumbnail because they really fucked me. But Teslas are nice cars.
Traffic?
But like they're not a new invention. That's the problem is like you just redesign what was already patented and then like I'm supposed to think you're the My Pillow guy. We got a car salesman and a delivery man running the country. Why do you want me to be the nuanced debate bro when like the actual material conditions of the country you live in are garbage? I could give less of a shit if I can shut up a right winger because I'm trying to help them too.
No, I think what's happening is the South Hall, the building
help
doors
people that need help.
closed.
You're doing too much.
So no one's going to.
Aren't the cars a part of the system? Yeah. Oh, thank you for the gift sub. Appreciate that.
Constantly,
Why are they closed?
I don't know.
Honestly,
Well,
why is the
like,
tunnel so
building
small?
itself
That's why
isn't
they're having
closed,
to
it's
drive
the-
so slowly,
the
then cause
entrance
congestion,
doors are
automatic
locked.
congestion.
I don't know why.
Huh.
All right.
We've been dropping people.
I am joking when I say this. I'm joking when I say this. I'm taking time out of this segment to address that chatter right there. Honestly, why is the tunnel so small? Like, you want to get banned? We don't do obvious here. We don't do obvious here, bro. We don't do obvious. What are you doing? What are you doing? Are you trying to point out the I mean, this is a chatter in a Twitch stream. No, it's a joke. It's a joke. I don't know if I know you. I'm afraid now. No. They're good. It's a joke. Are you trying to point out obvious? Stop it. I'm sure you are. Who do you think you are? A smart person with like obvious common sense? You think you know more than Elon Musk? You're a pleb. You're a pleb. You're a serf. Stay where you belong in your little serfdom. Don't come up with the most obvious idea of if you're gonna build a tunnel for these cars that have automatic driving access that you would just, make the tunnel larger instead of a one. The tunnels are small because it's really expensive to make tunnels. If you're perfecting technologies for a utopian post climate change, close the transit system, you use tunnels that would keep you away from the yeah. I think wasn't this tunnel built because Elon Musk just wanted an easier way to get to his wasn't this tunnel just built because he wanted to get to his LA office quicker? Like, if you're going to think of infrastructure, why not think about it as big as you possibly could? Elon Musk could fund Elon Musk could fund the high-speed rail tomorrow, and it wouldn't even touch this fucker's account. His stocks would go up. He could have a run for president if I hate this country, yo. I really do. I really do, yo. We come up with the most aggravating solutions to the most obvious problems.
Off to Central if they want to go to South Hall. I don't know why.
Well, I'm parked by the South Hall, so
I mean, I can still.
you can drop me off.
Yeah, people can still drop you off at the South Hall, but
And you're still picking people up over there.
There are drivers that drive you. It's Uber underground. Motherfucker spent money for Uber. Okay, let's try it this way. Let's fucking try it this way. If you built a tunnel with drivers underground, could you make the cars bigger so they could hold more people? Wait a minute. Isn't that a train? I hate it here. I hate it here so fucking much. You have no idea how much I hate it here.
I need a call about that because I just got a phone call saying I don't know. I need to clarify on that. I'm not sure.
Oh my god, there's a waiting line.
You're coming here,
line
yeah,
6.
Central?
Well,
It's an airport drop off. It's just make a train. You literally could have took every car you just had and made a train, an electric train. I will pay money to see electric trains again. All for the LED lights, so it's so cool. He wants Instagram social media influencers to take this to hype it up. And if you build a tunnel, they will come. Are these Uber drivers and Musk? It don't matter. It's in the realm that it doesn't matter because it's the same. It's the same solution. If it's Musk employees, that's even worse. Now you're cutting into Uber. And if it is Uber, they all drove to the public transportation too. Oh my God, no way. You mean this don't take you where you gotta go? You could have just put more bus routes. Not to mention that We don't know, and I will take the time to look this up after the segment. We don't know how much that shit costs. And if you do need a car, if you are the car driver yourself, if you do need a car, 1 to 2 persons per car, oh my god, it's literally Uber pool. This man reinvented the wheel. Oh my god. And you know what? It's funny because we're not even remotely close to solving this issue to the point that I want to solve it to. So we need to talk about Elon Musk a little deeper, and then we need to talk about infrastructure a little deeper. The first thing we're gonna do is, now that I've sat here for 20 minutes and explained to you my side of it, or how I view transportation and the idiocy of building these things with clear and present other solutions in place that could actually solve these things and make us money. Now I need to show you what the other side of that argument looks like. And when I say the other side of the argument, y'all know me. I'm the both sides guy. I love to see it from the other person's point of view. Let's see what PragerU wants to say on why America can't fill a pothole. And this is part of the infrastructure, roads, things like that. This is the bipartisan infrastructure deal. This is how deep I want to show you how I go into shit. Because without this information, when I say something out loud, it's easy to retort back because you've never read that. You've never cared to. You've probably read a summary. You've probably read somebody else's take on it. So, like, I'm doing it word for word so you can understand these things because you're here to learn, not to fuck around. Matter of fact, you know what? Use paradigm shift as your weapon against the right. Because, like, motherfuckers never read literature.
From left-wing Democrat to right-wing Republican, everyone loves infrastructure.
Yes, PragerU.
We all want safe bridges, smooth roads, and world-class airports. So why can't we have them? Why are America's bridges falling down, our roads riddled with potholes, and many of our major airports dilapidated? Why can't the United States build...
I thought that was, oh my God. I thought that was Robbie Starbuck because I was about to be like, no, you're jumping ahead of the gun. I have to do a whole dissertation on you. Okay, forget it. Sorry.
Build or repair infrastructure like European and Asian countries do? The answer is not complex. America doesn't have better infrastructure because of two groups: environmental activists and labor unions.
I have spent 21 minutes explaining to you why America does not have great infrastructure. It is our investment in the willingness to make the car it is our willingness to make the car the most attractive thing for the milestones of American culture. When you own a car, you have the freedom to go X, Y, and Z, and nobody can tell you nothing. But if everybody got a car, it would effectively be slower than taking public transit. Let's see what they're going to say.
What has happened to the Keystone XL pipeline?
And I'm out. And it took, what are we in? 32 seconds? And I'm out. I'm out. Like, how many views this got? 1.1 million views, and I can't crack 10K on one. Am I just not entertaining enough? No, I am entertaining enough. People just don't know me.
A project to bring oil from Canada to refineries in the US is a typical example. According to environmental groups, this vital piece of infrastructure is a guaranteed disaster.
It was a guaranteed disaster.
Never mind that pipelines are, by all measures, a much safer way to transport oil than rail cars.
That is correct.
Say the words fossil fuel, and the Greens are against it.
Solar energy literally are going to be eaten by the sun in like a relatively short amount of time in humans' existence. This solar system will be swallowed by the sun. Why not harness the energy it gives? Renewable energy instead of burning fossil fuels and climate change.
In November 2018, in the U.S. District Court of Montana, Judge Brian Morris, an Obama appointee, halted Keystone's construction for the third time.
Why did they make it out that it was Obama's appointee?
The first final environmental review approving construction was released by Hillary Clinton's State Department in 2011. It concluded that the environmental impact would not be significant. A second final environmental review also approved the project. It was released in 2014 by John Kerry's State Department and also foresaw little environmental impact.
Those are not true because we learned later on in the years that both of those reviews were set in place by lobbyists. They were withholding information. If you remember the Volkswagen debacle, there was another debacle afterwards where we were finding out that companies weren't providing the correct emissions for their cars and their factories where they were developing the cars, and that led us to start looking at food. That created the whole food controversy and everything. See, things that, like, if you gave enough of a shit to, like, look at Twitter and not, like, go straight to the drama, you would have noticed. Like, these were things that were talked about on all media channels. Like,
Judge Morris's third review may be the charm for the Greens. At this point, a full decade into the process, it's hard to see the pipeline ever being completed. Keystone is a case study of what Brookings Institute scholar Robert Kagan calls adversarial legalism.
a lot of these people go to Harvard. I wonder why. He's an American developmental psychologist. He's a licensed psychologist and practicing therapist, professional development, and organizational development. Is this the right person? No, it isn't. See? I can make mistakes. Robert Kagan is an American neoconservative scholar and critic of U.S. foreign policy and a leading advocate of liberal interventionism. A co-founder of the Neoconservative Project for the New American Century, is a senior fellow at the Brookings Council of Foreign Relations, has been a foreign policy advisor to U.S. Republican presidential candidates as well as Democratic administrations via the Foreign Policy Board. He writes a monthly column on world affairs on the Washington Post. During the 2016, Kagan left the Republican Party due to the party's nomination of Donald Trump and endorsed Hillary Clinton. Okay, so he's not weird. Unless you are willing to punish Saudi Arabia for the assassination, they own you. Russia and China are the greatest challenge liberalism faces today, nor do Russia and China welcome the liberal West's effort to promote liberal politics around the globe. Neoconservatism, describing the makeup of American neo, is a belief in the rectitude of applying U.S. moralism to the world stage, support for the U.S. to act alone, the promotion of American-style liberty and democracy in other countries, the belief in American hegemony, the confidence in U.S. military power, and the distrust of international institutions. That was 2008. American power in Nicaragua, present dangers of paradise and power, America and Europe in the New World Order, dangerous nation, America's place in this world from its earliest days, return of history and the end of dreams, the jungle grows back. I just heard about this book. I just heard about that book, The Jungle Grows Back.
Environmental reviews of every aspect of every public improvement. In a given year, the federal government produces 50,000 environmental assessments. Individual states and cities add thousands more. And this isn't new. A routine dredging project in Oakland Harbor, begun in the 1970s, wasn't completed until the mid-1990s because of legal and environmental challenges. 4 such challenges gummed up a water desalination plant urgently needed in dry San Diego. That process started in 2003 and was needlessly delayed for 12 years. Simply raising New Jersey's Bayonne Bridge roadway a bit to allow taller ships through, a move that had almost no environmental impact since it was merely an adjustment of an already built site, proceeded only after 5 years of review and 20,000 pages of environmental studies.
You see how easy it is? It took one simple Google search. One simple Google search. While the bridge is closed to traffic, first new piers are built, then a rolling gantry, if that's what's causing the environmental impact. That's what's causing the environmental impact.
Americans like to think of themselves as more freewheeling and less regulated than European and Asian countries. But when it comes to infrastructure, this just isn't true.
Oh, I gotta hear this.
Europe and Asia don't have the redundant layers of city, state, and federal bureaucracies that we do. As a result, their ideas get proposed, approved, and built in the time it takes us to agonize over a single environmental impact study.
Crazy. crazy how you bring that up and then you don't bring up like clean air.
And to add insult to injury, their roads, bridges, subways, and airports are much cheaper to construct.
It's because lobbyists want more money. Defense contract stocks go up when they have to, like infrastructure stocks go up. These companies buy into that and raise their prices, and they keep raising them so the lobbyists can go in and say, "Yeah, we'll do that for you, but instead of $100,000, it'll be 1.6 mil." Like, please add the context as to why that is instead of just saying blanket statements.
A 2011 study by Israeli mathematician Alon Levy found that a mile of subway track in Japan or continental Europe typically costs $200 to $450 million per mile. Vancouver, Canada comes in lower than that. The Canada Line, a 40% underground rail system in a densely populated area, cost $130 million per mile. Even on the high end, London's underground Jubilee Line extension of the Tube, which opened in 1999, cost $640 million per mile. But in New York City, the 2nd Avenue subway, a 2-mile extension of an existing line, took 10 years and cost $2.4 billion per mile.
But we didn't, like, okay, so use that as an example. Fine, now I'm going to take somebody who lives in New York City and explain to you why that was. Because of gentrification. When the line was announced, it was in the middle of a massive, massive high-rise building spree. So all the property values went up, and in order to fund that and make the line worth building, they started raising the prices in that area. But in order to do that, they had to buy out the tenants that were already there. But since a lot of them were old people sitting on old money, they wouldn't budge. So instead of buying them out, they raised the rates. But since they could afford it, all the rents went up because it was a brand new like area that people could access through the train that they were already using to transport them from where? Astoria. If you don't live in these places, you wouldn't know these ground stories. Where are your citations? I touch grass. That's my citation. It is really weird that I could then present to you the amount of money, the struggle, the budget, but you can go Google the New York City budget per county and see this information for yourself. I'm just not repeating it to you because that's boring. Nobody wants to sit there and watch that bullshit. You want to hear what you need to hear. And I'm telling you, the reason why it costs 2.4 billion per mile is because the infrastructure was so poor after Sandy and we never repaired it that in order to extend it, we had to drill underneath and build up in the middle of them putting build in order to them deconstructing buildings. I wanted to say demolition. There it is. There's the word. Demolishing buildings. So the two companies that were heading this, the MTA and the okay, I'm gonna forget the name of the main construction company. But if you ever go around New York City and you see the thing that protects people from falling things, I forgot the name of it. Their name is everywhere. The chat has probably already said it. I can't see the chat right now. I'm just going forward until I do this. They kept competing over higher and higher budgets. And because we had de Blasio as mayor, that motherfucker was like, "You need it, right? Here's the money." And yo, it takes the smallest amount of nuance to get there. Just the smallest amount of. So basically, get rid of the EPA. I wonder how many people that watch this video even know what dredging is. Because I can watch all those examples and see why it's taking so long on those projects if they ain't really close to mentioning the pertinent aspects. Exactly. And for those of you who are watching this on YouTube and don't know what dredging is, you know what? I'm not gonna do it to myself because I'm here for you. I'm here for you. Dredging is the act of removing silt and other material from the bottom of bodies of water. In other words, how the fuck they built underground. Vessels require a certain amount of water in order to float and not touch bottom. Like, yo, it's just, oh my god, you have to do this shit. Oh my god, and there's even top stories on this happening right now. Geoform dredging. Everything you need to know. I'm not going to do that to y'all. But major fucking point. How is it that normal people are this smart to be able to tell you the obviousness of this, but Prager fucking University can't?
And that's not an anomaly. The East Side Access Project, connecting Long Island residents to the east side of Manhattan, is set to cost an astonishing $3.5 billion per mile, according to the New York Times, which calls that 7 times the average cost in other cities around the world.
But New York City generates over $120 billion in revenue every year.
Construction began in 2007 and hopes to wrap in 2022.
Where we are right now.
2030 sounds more realistic. Why is everything so expensive to build in the U.S.? Enter the labor unions. Their motto seems to be work slowly and charge more.
That's not true. That's not true. That is not true. Because if you're talking about New York City, like, since he's kept this to New York, let's put into perspective that a bunch of the city council members will approve these at higher rates to get the mayor to sign off on them at lower rates. And when all these people start bidding, and the land that they have to go through, they have to convince the residents that are near that land to opt in. And some people require a buyout. So to surface that, the labor unions will charge more so that way the construction companies can have representatives come and try to buy them out. Because while this is happening, certain roads will be unusable, certain places will be inaccessible. And what's the best way to get people to relax when you tell them they can't go to Dunkin' Donuts in the morning?
Sometimes don't work at all. Workers from New York City's Sandhogs Union, which is critical to such projects, cost an astounding $111 per hour in wages and benefits, according to the Times investigation. Cost an astounding $111 per hour in wages and benefits, according to the Times investigation.
I would hope that you would pay people who are building things that millions of fucking people are using. I would hope you'd be paying them enough to make them care.
A task that could be done in Madrid with 9 workers requires 24 in New York City, according to an estimate by the city's own Metropolitan Transportation Authority.
And I just explained that. I in-befored him. I just explained that. Why is that? Explain to me the difference between Spain and New York City, please. Somebody. Just run it through your head. What could be the one major fucking difference between the two areas of the world?
It gets worse. An investigation of East Side Access construction found that roughly 200 of 900 workers on the underground project were being paid to do nothing. And such price tags and questionable union practices are not unique to New York City.
Whoa. Run that back. 200 of 900 workers being paid not to X. What do I have to do here? It's like you press it and then you press the stop loading. Easy money. I counted discovered discrepancy with the budget so the 900 workers being paid to dig caverns for the platform. And you only have, but the cabin could only identify 700 jobs that needed to be. They're just not finding this 200. Nobody. The workers were laid off, but no one figured out how long they've been employed. The workers were laid off. 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 So the fucking problem was fucking solved. You are gaslighting me. The problem was fucking solved because I know for a fact that this is dishonest misinformation for the. I know that's a oxymoron, or that's like saying the same thing twice. Anyway, most people who watch this would not have Googled that immediately while watching it.
East Side Access construction found that roughly 200 of 900 workers on the underground project were being paid to do nothing. And such price tags and questionable union practices are not unique to New York City. In Boston, a simple green line extension of the light rail network that is being built on the surface, not underground, is set to cost some $530 million per mile. The result of all this? Americans are living in a 20th century infrastructure world. We can't.
But literally, didn't we just block an infrastructure bill for like forever? Where's your man Trump? You posted this in 2019. Where was your man Trump with that?
Build a 21st century one. The unions and environmentalists won't let us.
And I've spent this entire time explaining why that's not true.
I'm Kyle Smith of National Review.
Fuck you. So before we hop into the last point of the war on Elon Musk and travel, fact sheet, the bipartisan infrastructure deal. We are not reading this. I'm not subjecting you to that shit. Do not worry. I just want you to pay attention to the fact that if you click this link, they tell you what the 1.5 million jobs will be. They tell you the economic growth. They give you the numbers. They give you how much people will be paid, the parts of it, over 10 years, how much the deficit is going to be. And they even tell you statistic budget deficit. It'll be negative 5.3 the first time, and then it grows. The deficit will literally grow until we hit 2031, where we have to do the most of our spending, and then it grows up again to 398.9. Like, it is not difficult to figure that out. The only places where the budget goes down are in childcare and total pay fors. They even give you a growth of what is expected from just creating the jobs themselves in each of the avenues of the infrastructure. So if you really, really give a shit, you could take a look there. Sorry, I left the page and it didn't. So, the legislation is meant to deliver clean water to all American families and eliminate the nation's lead service lines, which we need. It doesn't matter like how much it's going to cost. Why are people not having safe drinking water? Like, I think right or left, you could agree. Drink water good. Like, I'm going to treat you like a fucking hog. Water good. Ensure every American has access to a reliable, high-speed internet. Because if the pandemic showed us anything, it's that the world is connected by the internet now. You can't run an Oculus without a Facebook account. You can't run an Oculus without Wi-Fi. Why would we have a commerce sector that can only exist on the internet and then not provide the internet to people? Should we all just pay for internet? Well, if that's the case, shouldn't we all have good internet? Because in order for us to participate in jobs, in social activities, during the threat of a pandemic, maybe we should fucking give people the tool to at least connect to the web. Repair and rebuild our roads and bridges with a focus on climate change, mitigation, resilience, equity, and safety for all users. I.e., take the New York example that we've just been spending the last 10 minutes talking about and maybe put that all across the nation. Improve transportation options for millions of Americans and reduce greenhouse emissions through the largest investment in public transit in U.S. history. It ain't going to go far enough. I'm just telling you that off rip. It's not going to go far enough for all the reasons that I've explained in this video thus far. Upgrade our nation's airports and ports to strengthen our supply chains and to prevent disruptions that have caused inflation. This will improve U.S. competitiveness, create more and better jobs at these hubs, and reduce emissions. Yes, simple as that. Even for the granddaddy of them all, Amazon. Like, if we didn't have to rely so much on boats, trucks, and we could add in planes, smaller cars, if we could get things out to specific places at quicker times, that would reduce the supply chain issues on a larger scale. Since, as we talked about with the fucking goddamn Elon Musk tunnel, imagine if we used that tunnel and said, instead of people driving it, this will be a supply goods thing. People can trade between there. Didn't we do this in like the beginning of civilization? Who knows, irrigation. The Egyptians were stupid. Africa was dumb. Like, but we seem to be going right back there, right? Make the largest investment in passenger rail since the creation of Amtrak. Oh boy, Paradigm already said that. I wonder, is he the president? Maybe he's like a secret CIA operative and he's just trying to tell you, hey, the Republicans are ruining everything and the Democrats suck. So like, could you, instead of even trying to create a third party, could you just like vote all these motherfuckers out? Like, how about we just create a concerted effort that focuses on what the country needs as opposed to picking a side? Like, infrastructure is a communist buzzword if you didn't know. Build a national network of electric vehicle chargers. Didn't I? Upgrade our power infrastructure to deliver clean, reliable energy across the country and deploy cutting-edge energy technology to achieve a zero-emissions future. I.e., instead of us literally, and I've talked about this before when I was running for mayor, and it's on the website that I had for my mayoral campaign anyway. What if we used rooftop access to create a solar panel network that generates electricity for the building? I ain't even say your name. You fucking lying. You fucking lying. What if we used rooftop access to create an electric grid that could siphon off the extra stuff that people don't use when they're at work or it's during the winter, or during the like during those periods of time where people are constantly out and barely anybody's home, and all that extra built up energy during the time when the sun is active the most could be used in a stored chamber that people could pay less for to access during the winter during a surge. How do I have that answer? How do I have that network? You want to talk about where's your citations? There are places in this country already doing that. There are other countries and other fucking continents already doing that. Just take their fucking plan and do the American thing and discover that motherfucker and claim it as your own. How are you, Elon Musk, pulling this shit off and you don't know how to pilfer from the people that could make you more fucking money? I just gave you literally $433 billion worth of ideas, and like eight motherfuckers saw it. 8 motherfuckers saw it. Guarantee you when this video go up on YouTube, it's going to be like 45 minutes long, and motherfuckers ain't going to reach this point. But it's just like the terms and conditions. We all accept it without reading it. Motherfucker, the cure for cancer is in that shit. Like, read through that shit. Like, halfway through, they're like, if you press do not accept after reading this long, we will give you $1.6 billion. And everybody turned that shit down. Because I'm not reading the terms and conditions. Fuck you. Fuck you. Make our infrastructure resilient against the impacts of climate change, cyber attacks, and extreme weather events. Texas. I'm an American. I'm a Chad. I'm an American. You ain't gonna tell me how to live my life, even though you're telling me that my grid won't go off power and I'll still have heat during a blizzard that we aren't supposed to be getting because we're in Texas. Like, help me. Deliver the largest investment in tackling legacy pollution in American history by cleaning up Superfund and brownfield sites, reclaiming abandoned mines, and capping orphaned oil and gas wells. That's literally something that like everyone just has always asked for since the beginning of fucking time. Remember when we had the nuclear issue where there was a site that was a silo that was just unguarded and was guarded by a fucking floppy disk, and one motherfucker accidentally pressed the shit, we almost had a nuclear, like, come on. So to cap this long ass segment down to the end, I want to bring it back to Elon Musk because somebody posted this shit and I felt so dumb because of this tweet that followed it. And I know you bullshitting, but I'm gonna let you rock. Reminder that Elon Musk told everyone in 2020 on Joe Rogan's podcast exactly what the CDC director is admitting now. I have not pre-watched this. I'm watching it with you. I will react as I need to.
It's like hard to, if you're ill at all, it's like it could be COVID. So just to give people better information, definitely diagnosed with COVID or had COVID-like symptoms. We're conflating those two so that it looks bigger than it is. Then if somebody dies, was COVID a primary cause of the death or not?
Okay. For the 637,311th time, I will explain to everyone that COVID causes any type of condition that was going to bug you and or is created from COVID and then is harped on as a bigger thing. So like pneumonia of the lungs. You were walking around fine, you caught COVID, the COVID gave you pneumonia in the lungs, the pneumonia in the lungs killed you. COVID is the primary cause of why you got the pneumonia, so the death is attributed to COVID, even though what actually killed you was like heart failure, if we're going that far. Oxygen levels going too low, those things. COVID is generally the primary cause of people's deaths because it in itself causes the problems which is why we had that big conversation on pre-existing conditions, the problems that you already have to over-exacerbate themselves. I.e., if you have hypertension, high blood pressure, if you have obesity, if you have bad lungs, if you're a smoker, if things in your body are not, I'm not even going to say in the perfect condition, but if there's something that like is just nearing the edge or getting close to, COVID pushes that to the edge. You weren't supposed to die of the thing you died of that early. It pushes you into that state. Think about it like this. You have type 2 diabetes. I'm not saying that this happens. This is not a medical fact. Please do not take me as saying like anything about medical accuracy, I'm just throwing a hypothetical out there. You have type 2 diabetes. We know type 2 is more common but less worse than type 1. You're now on type 6, like that type of shit. Like it pushes you into that realm of health problems. That is why the majority of the people I know who have passed away from COVID, as I say, were healthy, because in theory, the problems that ended up killing them weren't the things that were supposed to kill them thus earlier. If they decided to stop doing the one thing, that wouldn't have been a problem 60 years down the road. But now they die at the age of 31 instead of the age of 81. You feel me on this? It's personal for me. I don't know what citations you need to see, because if you look in the New York Times, you will see a bunch of people who have died who mention me by name as part of their family's obituary. Like, I don't know what you want from me.
If somebody has COVID, gets eaten by a shark.
Like getting in a car accident, but you get thrown through the windshield and hit
COVID.
Something. That's not a hitting a wall death. Yep.
It's going to get recorded as a COVID death.
Is that real?
Their arm has COVID. If somebody has COVID, gets eaten by a shark, we find their arm has COVID. It's going to get recorded as a COVID death.
That is not true. That is a straight up lie.
Is that real?
Basically.
Not that bad.
Basically.
But heart attacks, strokes,
You get hit by a bus.
cancer.
If you get hit by a bus, go to the hospital and die, and they find that you have COVID, you will be recorded as a COVID death.
Why would they
That is not true.
do that though?
And I know that this is 2020.
Well, right now, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I mean, it's mostly paved with bad intentions, but there's some good intention paving stones in there too. And the stimulus bill that was intended to help with the hospitals that were being overrun with COVID patients created an incentive to record something as COVID that is difficult to say no to, especially.
Okay, we already debunked that a long time ago. CDC, health, other hospitals, everybody was talking about this and the fact that it wasn't true. I was in the hospital earlier last week, was in emergency for 8 hours for stomach pain, given meds, possible diagnosis, and right before I was handed my discharge papers, the nurse goes, "Before you go, we need to test you for COVID." That's what you should be doing in a hospital overrun with COVID patients and Omicron, which is harder to figure out because it's even more transmissible than any other thing. My dad literally is going for a colonoscopy on Thursday, and they tested him yesterday for COVID to make sure he doesn't have it by the time he comes in. But apparently that's a bad thing, and that's why I was like, you're fucking stupid. So this is fucking stupid. Exactly what the CDC director is admitting now. So you know what? To end this segment off, we're gonna look. We're gonna look. Let's see.
75% occurred. The overwhelming number of deaths, over 75%, occurred in people who had at least 4 comorbidities. So really, these are people who were unwell to begin.
Bear with me, this is going to be a long one because I'm mad about this. So that clip you just watched is of the CDC director that is being used by anti-vaxxers to push around propaganda that apparently the CDC has admitted that 75% of people that died of COVID-19 had more than 4 underlying conditions.
This is exactly why I like the paradigm shift. I like this stream. Because for the sake of me, I'm going to tell you right now, I do not know everything. I know a lot of things, but I do not know everything. So people already make this content to be found. And most of us don't go looking for it because it's not the viral thing. It's not part of our daily lives. So when you come here, you learn something. You feel me? Y'all getting me now? You getting why I don't like the whole debate bro thing and the whole shit? Like, because I'm here to learn and figure out, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. And if it's being pushed by these people, well, let me go look for what exactly is happening.
This is being pushed by people like Candace Owens, which shouldn't be surprising to anybody. That clip is edited and it is taken out of context to fit the anti-vax narrative. The CDC director was not talking about everybody. She was referencing a study of vaccinated people. If anti-vaxxers actually watched the whole interview, they would know that she was talking about this study. This study looked at over 1 million people that had been vaccinated over the course of a year. And in this study of over 1 million vaccinated people, 36 people had died of COVID-19, which is 0.0033%. Out of these 36 people that had died, 78% had at least 4 underlying health conditions. That was the point that she was trying to make. The fact that the people that died in this study that were vaccinated, the majority of them had more than 4 underlying health conditions. Which is not surprising because we know that people that have a lot of underlying health conditions are at high risk of getting or dying from COVID-19. The study that she's referencing and the clip that was taken out of context is actually a testimony to the vaccine's success.
Yes.
But here's what's making me so mad about this. The people, anti-vaxxers, that are pushing this as some sort of admission by the CDC are either lying because they know it is not true, or, which is more likely, is that they didn't take the 5 seconds it takes to fact check this or verify this, and they are just regurgitating the propaganda that they heard from the likes of Candace Owens. Guys, here's the reality. We're living in a time where the US is reporting almost 1 million new COVID cases a day. And there's right now 140,000 Americans hospitalized with COVID-19, which is more than we've ever had since the beginning of this pandemic.
Ironically, right? But we're 2 years out from 15 days to slow the spread. But if people don't do the things to slow the spread, then what does it matter what we tell you to do? You could, and this is what I hate about people who throw these vaccine mandate arguments out and everything. And I know we're going all the way from transportation and infrastructure to vaccines, but do you see how these things are intersectional? Because I don't have the will or the popularity to sway an entire large population or a large group of people to say, oh, wow, I learned that. We're a small community right now. But like millions of people are posting on Twitter about this. If millions of people are talking about it, something's got to be right, right? How many of those people watched this video? 131.2K views. 1 million people watched the 1 million people watched the Elon Musk clip. I'm the man. Who fights the man?
And the reality is that the vast majority of these people and the vast majority of the people that have died of COVID-19 in this past year have been unvaccinated.
That's just true. That's just true. I don't know why people are like hearing that and saying, hey, just round up all the unvaccinated then, right? It's like you guys have your freedom. You are killing yourselves to make a point that you shouldn't live in fear. But like, are you not afraid of death? And if not, why use COVID? And, I'm not going to say it, but like, you see where that argument could go, right? If you don't care, then how do I help you? The only way I can help you is get your shot. Point being, get the shot. Like,
you know, these anti-vaxxers love to call themselves free thinkers and critical thinkers, but all of the bullshit that we see from them is entirely devoid of any free or critical thought. Because all they're doing is regurgitating whatever bullshit they see from their favorite right-wing propagandists without taking the time to fact-check it. You know, it's one thing if they kept this shit to themselves, but they don't do that. They go and spread these lies, and this kind of disinformation kills people. And that I have a problem with. All of the things in the world that you could fight against, trying to fight against a life-saving vaccine is probably the stupidest reason to risk your life.
You're dumb. You're stupid. You're dumb.
The overwhelming number.
To everyone saying that it's not eugenics or she didn't mean it that way, it's really quite simple. She's the fucking CDC director. If one of the most important people and important and powerful science communicators on the planet meant something else, she could say that. But y'all took it out of giving you unprompted. You just encouraging that disabled people. Why should this see? After Fox News itself had debunked the clip. Washington Post. 6,000 retweets for a very deceptive clip. The CDC with a tiny number of deaths, 40 of vaccinated people to show how effective the vaccines have been. Misinformation spreads much faster than the connections. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of this segment. If you made it all the way here, hit the like, hit the subscribe. I don't know if YouTube does chapters for me. I will try to add a chapter before I upload this video. If not, fuck it.